Over the last 5 years, I talked to a lot of people and learned a lot, and I still continue to learn to this day. So in today's video, I want to break down exactly why some people fail with their online businesses and the top 5 reasons why they actually fail. So hopefully you can avoid some of these mistakes for yourself. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Rasmus. I'm the owner of Minix, a performance marketing agency that specializes in working with e-commerce brands and scale them with paid advertising and UGC videos on a performance-based approach. But with that being said, let's get straight into it. So reason number 1 is that you don't hire people, and you don't hire good people. So the whole point of hiring and growing a business is that you hire people, and you hire people that are better at a specific task than you are. You need to delegate the tasks that you're not good at. It's the whole point of hiring and growing a business. Like, you just can't be good at 8 different things. You can't be like super good at 8 different things. So that's why you hire, and you need to hire people that are much better at the task that you're hiring for than you are. You'll likely also improve your business because the role you're hiring for in some way or shape or form will probably be tied to some sort of revenue number, either through retention or sales, like customer service or something like that. And I get that it can be scary mentally to let go of some profits to hire someone for a job that you feel like you're already doing just fine. But let me tell you, I have a few friends that thinks like that as well, and just basically like cash hoarders, where they just don't want to hire anyone, or at least they say they want to, but when it actually comes down to it, they just never hire anyone to do the job, and it never ends well. So most of the time what ends up happening is that they'll hit a cap where they're just working 10-12 hours every single day, 7 days of the week, to just serve their clients, because they have too many clients to actually handle on a realistic scale, because that will just lead to burnout. And because they don't have time to do anything else than just serving their customers, when things inevitably start to go down, because every business has ebbs and flows, sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, they don't have any system in place to actually acquire new customers. Now they have to worry about that whole section of the business. So it kind of turns into this like vicious cycle where they either have too much work on their hands and they're just not living a sustainable life because they have to serve all these customers, or they have to stress every day and night about how to actually grow the business, because in the last 4 months where they had such a massive demand for their services and they had, too much work to actually do, they had no time to actually putting a system in place to acquire new customers. So now they don't know what to actually do, and they don't know how to actually grow the business and get back to that level again. So moral of this point is just don't be like that. Hire people, and hire good people is the only way you can actually grow a business. So the second thing I see is that people are just doing busy work. And so busy work, I think, is something every entrepreneur falls into at some point, where you're just kind of spinning your wheels. You're not actually getting anything done that moves the business forward. So what I actually found for myself is that the best way to figure out if you're just doing busy work and not actually doing something meaningful is to check and just think about what your answer would be to the question if someone had to ask you, what did you do today? If your girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, friend, whatever asked you, what did you actually do today? If your response would be, I actually don't know, I feel like I just did so many things, but I really couldn't tell you, then I promise you, you just did busy work. You didn't actually do anything meaningful, because if you did anything meaningful, you would have a clear-cut answer to that question. You would be able to tell them, look, I sent 100 emails, or I had X and X meetings, I shot 4 YouTube videos, I did X, Y, and Z, right? You would have a clear-cut answer. But if your answer is just, I actually honestly don't know, I feel like I just was so busy the entire day, then yeah, you were busy, but with the wrong things. So instead of doing that, what you need to do is you need to be focusing on your IPA'S, your income producing activities, right? This is also why you hire people, is to buy back time so you can spend more time on your income producing activities and take your business to the next level, right? But what I see so often happening is that people will buy back their time, and then they'll just start to micromanage the team or the person that they hire for that role, instead of just letting that person be, let them do their job. If you feel like you need to micromanage that person, you probably hired the wrong person for the job, because that person should inevitably be able to do the task you assign them to do. And so instead of micromanaging them, what you should be doing is just spending more times on, that's probably going to be sales, right? It's probably how you grew the business in the first place, to actually be able to afford to hire a person. But if you just buy back your time and you actually don't do something with it, then inevitably your business will go down, and you will have to fire the people you worked so hard to hire, and no one wants that, right? So buy back your time, hire good people, and then spend your time on income producing activities, and just keep spending your time doing that. The third thing I see happening with a lot of people is that they're not good at taking full responsibility. And this is a real classic here, right? You probably also know a couple people that are just not good at taking responsibility for what they do. And I've also been on calls with potential prospects and people that are just so good at making up every single excuse known to man that it's just like, it's crazy. So listen, generally in life, it's good to just be able to take responsibility for whatever happens. But if you own a business, if you run a business, every single thing that happens in that business is on you. Full stop. You have full responsibility for that business. You pick what product to sell, you hired the people, you set the price, you designed the website likely, you made sure that all the ads that went out were approved by you. So every single thing that happens, whether good or bad, is on you. If you get success, that's amazing. Also, you take full responsibility for that. But if shit goes sideways, that's also on you. And I've had a couple clients before, they're just not good at acting quick enough because they don't have any sense of urgency. And that's likely because they don't feel like they actually are responsible for whatever goes sideways in the business and everything that's not up to par or not profitable. But do you know what happens when you have no sense of urgency in your business whatsoever? The business never grows. And neither has it for every single client we've had that had no sense of urgency and didn't take any responsibility for whatever we told them to do or whatever they needed to do. So don't let this be you. Just assume that you have full responsibility for every single thing, even though it might not seem like this is on you. Just assume that it's 100% on you. It makes it so much easier and you don't have to judge yourself for it. It's not like, oh, I have full responsibility for that and therefore if it doesn't go the way I want it to, I'm a piece of shit. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, take full responsibility and then act with a sense of urgency. Because if you don't take massive action on whatever you need to take action on, that's a surefire way to never get out of the plateau you're at. So yeah, if things aren't working, switch it up quickly and just take full responsibility for it. The fourth thing I see happening is the Dunning-Kruger effect. So let me just ask you this, because I think a lot of people can resonate with this. When was the last time you jumped into something new and assumed it to be easy, but then as you got further along, you actually figured out it was hard as hell? That is what the Dunning-Kruger effect is. So it's basically a graph showing your competence here and then your confidence here in your ability to do whatever task or whatever business you're trying to start. And so basically what it shows is that when your competence level is at the all-time lowest, so when you actually don't know anything about it but you think you do, your confidence level is at an all-time high. And then as you start improving your skill set, you kind of start to realize, okay, maybe I actually weren't as good at this as I thought. Maybe I'm not an expert, maybe I'm not the best out there, and your confidence will start to drop as you become better at the business you actually started or the skill you're trying to improve on. And then only as you become a real expert at it, then your confidence starts to come back up and you actually start to realize, okay, now I'm really solid and I'm really good at what I'm doing. And this graph and this phenomenon alone is the reason why so many people jump into something, do it for 1 to 3 months and then switch to something new. Because they start off super optimistic and they think, okay, everything is gonna be great, I'm gonna make all this money. And then as they kind of dip their toes in a little bit, they realize, okay, maybe this was not easy, maybe I'm not super good at it. But because they can't take responsibility for it, which we just talked about, they switch niche because now they found something that looks even better because their competence level again drops to 0 and their confidence level goes to an all-time high. So what I would advise you to do is just generally stay humble and just assume that you don't know anything, because you will never see on TV or you'll never see like any of the all-time greats like Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. None of them ever goes out there and tells the audience, look, I know everything there is to know about e-commerce, spaceships, the stock market, whatever industry these guys may be in, because they know they don't. And if Jeff Bezos still have something to learn, then I know that you do as well, okay? You're not beating Jeff Bezos, I'm sorry to tell you. And then number 5, the last thing here, I see people struggle with a lot, and the reason why they quit is patience. Okay, and this is not to go all Gary Vaynerchuk on you, but I just had a talk with a friend last week about patience actually. So we were talking about YouTube specifically because he's been real lazy uploading YouTube videos and building out his personal brand. So I call him out on it, and I'm also calling you out right now publicly on YouTube. You know who you are and get some shit running, do something. Hope this can be a little bit of motivation to you. Anyways, we keep talking and he says, look, I would love to just make like a 3-month sprint to just really build up my personal brand. And then, you know, have a couple thousand subscribers in 3 months, right? And that led to some pretty interesting conversation, because the next question I had for him was, well, what if you don't? What if virtually nothing happens in the next 3 months where you're trying to go all in on YouTube? What if nothing happens? what are you gonna do? And so when you ask questions like this, it's kind of like taking all the air out of a balloon. But I think it matters a lot. Too often we get into this shiny object syndrome, partially also because of the Dunning-Kruger effect I just talked about. But it's my belief that setting these like short-term time frame goals, like, oh, in 1 month or 3 months or 6 months, setting these goals to make huge leaps forward, it's more damaging than it's good. Instead, the frame I like to look at it through, and something I've been working a lot on the last 6 months, is looking through the lens of, okay, how long would I have to do this to make it literally unreasonable for me not to see just a little bit of success? Because especially on YouTube, you have millions and millions of creators that are trying every single day to actually go viral and to create a name for themselves, and people who's been doing this for like 3, 5, 10 years and just never really seem to break through. So what makes you think that you are deserving of getting 10,000 followers from 0 in 3 months posting a little bit on YouTube, right? It's just unrealistic, and it makes more harm than good. Instead, what I've done with YouTube is I've just told myself, look, I'll post 500 videos on YouTube, and if I still like it at that point, and if I see a little bit of success, then sure, I'll keep going. Because I know after 500 videos, if I can post consistently 500 videos, it's pretty unreasonable for me not to just gotten better at it, and through getting better at it, I will probably start to enjoy it more, and B, it will probably be pretty unreasonable for me not to achieve just a little bit of success. Bottom line is, the only way to fail is to quit. So the longer you can expand your time horizon and keep doing something, the less likely you are to fail and not getting to where you want to be. Like, just ask yourself, if you did what you're doing right now for 30 years, don't you think you would be somewhat good at it and somewhat successful? So what I think you should try and do, and it's the same exercise I've done a lot with myself over the last like 6 months, especially the last 4 months, is just to get obsessed with the input. Just get obsessed with how much work and how much quality work can you actually do, and then look at a super long horizon, because then you can set yourself some pretty damn high goals, and it will be pretty unlikely for you not to actually get successful if you're looking at things through a 10-year lens instead of a 3-month lens. Like, no one is deserving of having 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and no one is deserving of having a business doing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars in revenue a year. So you need to just keep doing the work until you get there. Because if you never quit until the day you die, it's pretty unlikely you won't get to where you actually want to be. So just to recap really quickly, here's the 5 things that I see people doing wrong and why they're actually failing with their business. So the first thing is, you're not hiring people, and you're not hiring good people. The second thing is that you're doing busy work and you're not focusing on income producing activities, your IPA'S. Third thing is that you're not taking full responsibility and you're not acting with a sense of urgency. Fourth thing is that you think you're better than you actually are. And then the last thing is that you're not willing to be patient enough to actually achieve your goals. So let me know your thoughts on this video. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below, and also make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate that a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.